How far have you walked for something you believe in? Each year, thousands of French walk 62 miles in a centuries-old act of pilgrimage. I witnessed this myself. You're listening to Travel FOMO, a podcast for people self-diagnosed with wanderlust.
Welcome to Travel FOMO. I'm Jamin Howden, and I'm here with my wife, Hilarie.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for joining us for the second episode of our secret season. If you're enjoying the conversation so far, take a minute to rate, review, and subscribe to the Travel FOMO podcast from wherever you're listening. So, where are we going next, Hilarie?
We are going to France. My sister, Jessica Giles, and I spent a month backpacking across 9 European countries, and we started with England and France. So in our secret season, I took a trip down memory lane and interviewed her for this podcast, for this whole season, actually.
Very cool. Very cool. And not only did you interview her and you guys reminisce about your trips, you guys actually have audio files from the trip as it was happening.
Yeah, so crazy. My sister was ahead of her time in terms of, I guess, maybe the original podcaster, you could say, because she recorded some audio clips with her little audio recorder. And I guess it was like a little digital recorder. Uh-huh. And we found those files in the process of reminiscing. And so we really get to go back in time, and you guys can hear for yourself as our listeners. You can hear what we were like back in the day.
So we've got 2 clips from you when you guys are actually in France.
That's right. Yeah. So do you want to hear them?
Let's listen.
Okay.
Day 4. Jessica and I have finally perfected our British accent. I believe we're doing quite good. No worries. But right now we are sitting in our hostel we're in Paris, France. And so we've got to learn a whole nother lingo, which sucks. But I think we're doing rather well, don't you think? Whatever. And our hostel in Paris is absolutely perfect. It has a beautiful, beautiful shower and toilet that I love. And it is purple, of all the colours in the room, but it is quite lovely, and we are quite happy to be here, finally. It's wee little, but it has potential. I could do a lot with the walls, and it's a very high ceiling. I like the atmosphere. And that's about all we have to say for right now, except for we're about to go venture into Paris, and it's dirty and ghetto. Bye.
So,
are you going to ask me how old we really were? Oh, those clips, that's pretty funny. I didn't remember us with the fake accents.
Hey, it's brave and bold.
Yeah, well,
you loved your toilet.
I don't think either one of us thought we'd actually share these with the world. Too funny.
Little did you know.
That's
Little
right.
did you know.
That's right. Too funny. Okay, well, here is the second clip.
Day 5, Friday, May 13th. We originally started recording this whenever we were sitting in the Louvre waiting for a friend to arrive so that we could all go to see the Moulin Rouge at night. And Jessica and I were singing, and it was great, and the acoustics were awesome. We're at the entrance to the Louvre, and we ran out of time, and we felt silly, so we quit. But now we are, well, I won't tell you where we are now. We'll wait for day 7 to tell you that. And I'll let Jessica tell you a little bit more about what happened that day. It was wonderful. We went to the Louvre, we went to the Eiffel Tower during the daytime. I got a really pretty picture. And the night before, day 4, after we recorded in our hostel, we went and saw the Eiffel Tower, and it was all lit up at night, and it was sparkling like fireworks. It was beautiful. And it was the first time we saw it. As soon as we came up from the subway, it was just there, and it was sparkling, and it was gorgeous. And so day 5, we went and saw the Eiffel Tower again during the daytime without the lights, and saw the Louvre. And then that night, after getting on the subway, I threw down my ticket thinking that we were done with them and that they were only one way. And once we got into the subway train station, they did a ticket check, and the police did a ticket check, and all the other tickets that we had, the other one that we actually had, was supposedly not good, and so I got a 35 euro ticket, which converted into American dollars is $56, and so I'm paying that off this summer, but all in all, it was worth it in the end, and I'm okay with it. And that night we went, we had to get over it. It was kind of one of those things, we're not going to let it bother us and ruin the trip. So, and then at the end of day 5, at the night, we went and saw the Moulin Rouge all lit up with the windmill and everything, and it was really nice and pretty. And that's about it for day 5.
So for the people that know you, it's in no way surprising that you guys were sitting on the steps singing.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I don't know. You can tell that we got a little bit embarrassed because we stopped. But my sister and I had always grown up singing together and performing together in a million different capacities. And so when we hear good acoustics, we just like look at each other and like are like, oh man, it would sound really good to sing Shenandoah right here. And and so there was a little bit of that went on. And
did it ever occur to you guys to like throw a hat out to see if anyone would like
that would have
put some
awesome.
dollars in there?
Dang it. She's going to listen to this and she's going to be like, man, that could have paid off that whole ticket that I got in the subway if we would have just like sung for our supper. But yeah, no, it was always like so beautiful. And the other thing about my sister and I that is hilarious when it comes to singing is that we literally, if we're around each other, we can just start singing the same song at the same part of the song on the same key at the same moment. And it has happened so many times I can't even count. And so that we always laugh about that, but that is how in sync we are when it comes to singing. So truly, for those of you who know us very well, this is absolutely no surprise. So
yeah,
hilarious.
That's very on message for both of you.
On brand.
Now we've listened to the clips from back then.
Yeah.
So we get to hear the interview from now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is you, your sister Jessica Giles, reminiscing about your time in France.
All right. Welcome back, guys. I've got my sister, Jessica Giles, here. Say hi, Jess.
Hey, everyone.
We are picking up on the rest of our journey throughout Europe. So this was a trip we took back in May 2005, and we had such a great time. We are reliving it in front of, well, not in front of your very eyes, but in front of your very ears. And oh man, it's been fun to reminisce. And we are making our way to Paris right now. So I believe we took a lunch train to Paris via the Eurostar. Is that right, Jess?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, from right. London. Yeah. And the Eurostar was amazing. Highly recommended because you could get like a month-long pass and it would take you all over Europe and you could expand how many countries you wanted to have access to. So I highly recommend that. I will say, Jessica, you pointed this out whenever we were kind of off the mics. You mentioned that we were backpacking. Like, this was not a fancy trip. This was us literally, if you couldn't carry it, you couldn't wear it. And so it was an interesting trip for that reason, because you're trying to go to places that are relatively chilly in May. And at the same time, you don't want to carry a huge backpack or a huge coat all the way through the beaches of Italy, you know? So it was really popular at the time, but looking back, I'm like, oh, I don't know if that was the best choice. Were the Crocs that we wore. That's awesome. But they made it, I mean, like, our feet never hurt. Like, they were perfect. You could wear them if it started raining. It didn't really...
They really were perfect in some ways. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Man,
we got so lucky.
They weren't beautiful, but at the time they were popular in America anyway. So I guess we looked uber American with our Crocs on.
We put a lot of confidence in them. to like take them as like I think that was like maybe our only pair of shoes. Did we have any dress up items like to go to the play or anything? I mean, like,
Yeah, I had some heels. I do remember bringing one pair of heels, but I don't know if I thought that was a
but
good
I mean, like, not an extra pair of tennies. You know what I mean? Like,
no tennis
that's so
shoes
that's so funny. And we're walking all over Europe.
over the place. Oh man. And then our bags were so full that you didn't really have a lot of, well, we didn't have a lot of money, but also a lot of room to buy anything else.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And we had our Nalgene water bottles. Those were like good. And a surprising number of cities had like fountains where you could actually like reach out and fill your bottle with water. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we were learning to get around. I remember journaling that if we didn't know how to do something or how to get somewhere, we knew now how to figure it out at this point in the trip. You know, we'd been through London and figured it out, and now we're in Paris. We didn't know the language, but we were figuring it out. And yeah, do you remember one of the first things we did when we arrived to Paris?
Well, we went to our hostel, didn't we? Was it late? It was late, wasn't it?
It was late, and
No. Yeah, it was like evening time.
Yeah, I think we dropped off our bags and went right to the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah. Surely. I mean, because that was an awesome experience coming up out of the subway from to see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember it like lighting up like fireworks. I mean, that's in every I don't know, that's just how it looked to me. That it was just like shimmery, like I don't know,
strobe lights or something.
Awesome.
It was like so much splendor, you know.
Yeah. I guess I didn't expect it to. I just expected it to be like lights. I like solid lights. I didn't expect it to like have a shimmery or any, you know. But sparkle.
That was amazing. That was definitely one of my like all-time favorite memories from France for sure. Do you remember going up to the top of the Eiffel Tower that night?
Yeah, vaguely. I mean, I remember like looking out like over the city and seeing all the lights, and I don't know. We didn't go all the way. Did we go all the way to the top? I feel like we went like a ways up there, but not all the way. I think there were different like phases you could go to. Like, I don't know, because I mean, there was a lot of people. It was like you stand in line a little bit, like waiting to get up there.
Tons of people. That I actually made a note of that, like how diverse it was, and like at any given moment you could hear like 4 or 5 languages around you. It was just crazy.
Love it. Everyone coming to see beautiful sights. Abby?
Well, and I do remember like one of my like notes for the fellow traveler is that there were a lot of pickpocket signs, and I learned later that like the thieves, like if anybody's going to try to pickpocket you, they're going to watch for you to see that sign, and once you see that sign, you're going to touch wherever your money is. So if it's in your pocket or your purse, you're going to touch your pocket or your purse, and then they'll know where, because that's human instinct, right? And they will know where they should try to get money from, which I thought is fascinating and a great tip for people, you know, to just like, when you see a pickpocket sign, you want to kind of resist the instinct to touch your money, you know?
Don't be like, okay, here's where it is.
Yeah. But I was definitely overwhelmed by all the people and all the languages. And yeah, we stayed at Friends Hostel. I remember, and I think we had 2 different rooms. We stayed for 2 nights, but we had 2 different rooms, I believe.
I think so. It could be that the first night we couldn't get like, or one of those nights we couldn't get a solo room, but then the second night we did. Because man, we were like, anytime you could get a hostel room for a reasonable rate, like a private, like a 2-bedroom or something, you know, like something that's like private to just you and your party. Oh my gosh, like we jumped on it, because you're around people all the time and you don't know all the people. If you're in a group room, you don't know all these people from all over the world, and you have to leave your bag there, you know, like you're having to trust a lot of stuff. You know, we took the important stuff with us around our neck, under our shirt. Remember that?
Yeah. Truly, yeah. Well, and Yeah, I just remember you kind of had to always be on guard whether you liked it or not. Because even at night, like you'd be sleeping in a room with other people.
Yeah.
And you just didn't quite know exactly, you didn't know who you could trust. But I remember that first night we roomed with 2 girls from Arizona, and we had the tiniest bathroom in the world.
So tiny.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Tiny.
It was adorable though.
And we were like, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know Hilarie and I, like, we are not super skinny, but we are also not like super big. And so, especially at that time in our life, we were like thinner because we were young, and these were tiny for us. It was just small. But I remember that shower. It was clean. I will say that it was a very clean hostel, and the shower, like the bathroom, was really clean. I just remember being like, I get to take this amazing shower. I don't even remember if it was like the water was very warm. It probably was like, I like warm showers, but apparently the cleanliness was enough for me to not care whether it was warm or cold.
That's funny. The next day we went to Moulin Rouge. I think we went to Moulin Rouge in the daytime, and then later on again at night.
And the Louvre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Louvre. And we met a Canadian named Tom, and he literally just kind of turned to us and said, like, do you speak English? Would you mind taking my photo? And he was traveling by himself. And I remember he thought we were hilarious. And I was like, yeah, I guess we are. We're pretty funny.
We'll take it. Yep. We'll receive.
Sure. Okay. And we didn't hang out with him for really long because, we tried to make our way to the Louvre, and I took us to the suburbs instead, which was really not the intention, but it was kind of a charming little surprise. We went and got like French bread and like cherries to snack on. And then we went to an electronics store because we needed batteries or something, and then
And while we were there, wasn't it when we were in the suburbs, like when we got kind of in the wrong direction or off from where we'd planned, we were all worried about, are the French going to be nice to us? But we were really trying to, I was trying to use whatever French I had studied from those cassette tapes, which again, it's not like it's not a lot of conversational, like, it's like, here's a phrase, and then you hope you can understand what they say back to you.
Oh, right.
And so, but that was when we met a woman. We found a woman on the street, and we just, we were like, we're lost, and we're trying to get the Eiffel Tower. Could you please direct us?
Somebody had told me that if you at least try to speak a little French, they won't make you keep doing it, but they appreciate the effort. Yeah, you did a really good job of always trying to at least attempt it. You were like our language expert, and I would be like, Jessica, say this, or ask them that, or
it was fun. It was fun. Gosh, I wish I had known even more at the time, but it's all gone now. So what was funny about that Moulin Rouge, we'd gone, because it was earlier in that day that we'd gone to Moulin Rouge. Was it that day? The same day?
Yes, I think that morning. Yeah.
What was so funny about the first time we went to Moulin Rouge is we had not realized when we booked our hostel, it was down the street from the Moulin Rouge. Yeah, so our hostel, we hadn't really done enough research to find, you're doing so much as is when you're covering this many countries and going to be gone for this long. We hadn't been able to research, like, okay, well, what are all the safe parts of Paris and the not safe parts? So we were just looking for, like, what is a reasonably priced hostel that we can get and, has good reviews and all that, and that we would feel pretty safe at. Well, we felt great about our hostel, and but we didn't realize that it was like right down the road. We got there at night, and we just didn't realize that it was like, or in the evening, but it was the next day that I think that we realized, oh my gosh, we walked down the street and it was like right down the road from the Moulin Rouge. Like when you go at nighttime and see the Moulin Rouge, there are things you see through the windows of different places down there that you're like, oh wow.
Yeah, it's like the sex district of France. After that, the real intention was for us to make our way to the Louvre, to hit up the Eiffel Tower, and then to hit up the Louvre. And I accidentally got us to the suburbs, and we met that great lady. But then we were making our way back to the Louvre because we were going to meet up with Tom, this Canadian, and we were going to go to the Moulin Rouge together because at that point we'd realized the Moulin Rouge is kind of a rough district, and it would be great to have somebody else coming along with us. And so we met up with him. And Jessica, you had mentioned us sitting somewhere on the steps and singing. I think it was at the Louvre, is what my journal says, that we were waiting there for him. Or no, maybe we wanted to and we didn't. Because he showed up and we were like, well, that'd be weird.
Oh, I think that was it. I think because we sang also, I mean, sorry guys, we sang a lot on this trip. And so these might merge a little bit, but we definitely sang, as you mentioned, the Westminster Abbey. We sat down, right? Didn't we sing at some point there back in London?
Right. I think you're probably right. Yeah.
While we ate or after we got done eating. Yeah. But then, yeah, I think you're right that about Paris, that we wanted to sit down and start singing and we thought it would be fun. But, and then he showed up.
Yeah. Awkward.
I really want to tell you about this great new thing I found. Every time I bring it on a trip, I'm so glad I did. It saves money, makes life easier, and I'm better looking because of it. The only catch is, I haven't found it yet. So if your product can make our lives better, let's talk. Because we want to know and we want to share.
The other thing I remember about Paris was we got on the metro and they were really strict about tickets. And that's kind of a good thing for travelers to know.
Oh, I forgot this.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think we got a fine and it was like 35 euro, which to us was huge.
Yeah.
And it was just because we dropped a ticket after getting in.
Yeah. Yeah. We had used the ticket and then threw it down. Didn't think anything of it. Well, we got it. Like, why would it matter? And apparently it does. And I was like, I promise, like I had like, I tried to, I guess I think you had kept, was it when we were still with Tom? Because I feel like there were three of us. And so you and Tom had kept your tickets and I had just tossed mine down because you see it. I mean, there's like the lines of the of what they call it, the underground, the subway or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was like just lined with tickets. I mean, that's what people did. They would just throw their tickets on the ground. And that's rude of me to like contribute, but I thought it was acceptable. And keep your tickets, people.
Keep your tickets. And that led to my most dramatic story of Paris, which was, this might not have affected you as much, but based on my extreme personality, you were probably affected. But because of that, we needed to get more cash, and it was nighttime, and we were at the Moulin Rouge, and I ended up getting more cash, and I was having trouble with my PIN number, and Tom was there, and so he was like, here, let me see, and he was trying to do it too, and then afterwards he was like, you guys need to be careful because I could have been anybody and you just handed me your card and you let me see your PIN, and he was so kind, but I was so humbled. It was so like sobering, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So
like, oh my gosh, we trust people.
I know. And we were having a blast, but it was like, whoa, he's totally right. He's totally right. But it was good advice, and it was good that we got it right at the beginning of our trip too.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I later lost a credit card on that trip. So you'll hear about that later when we get to Spain. Fortunately, that was the end of the trip, so I didn't need that credit card as much longer. Yeah. But
thank you, Tom, for the good advice if you're out there.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, right. We should look him up. Tom Elliott. Somewhere in, I think, Toronto, Canada.
the thing that sticks out to me is I don't even know if it was part of the Moulin Rouge or just part of the Red District. The Red District stuck out to me. I remember getting pictures of it, of like the Moulin Rouge itself, and just being like, oh my gosh, like I love that movie, because the movie had already come out. And so when I was in high school, and I loved it because love music. And so, and I love romance on top of that. So it was just such a cute movie. And I just remember really being like, oh my gosh, this is the Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I remember a lot of other details other than that. But like, I know, kind of scenes outside of it.
Yeah, going back, I would probably go to a show. I think it's I you know, as an adult you kind of prepare yourself for what that would be like, but I think now that I'm older, I would like let myself go to a show at Moulin Rouge. But yeah, the whole district itself was like disarming. Like it was like, ooh, like sex museums and they're not private.
Kind of on guard.
Yeah, just right there in your face. And I remember you were very popular to Europeans, and men would just stop us on the street to like tell her how beautiful she was. And I'm not even kidding, guys. Like, especially in Italy, but in France too, like Jessica has this blonde hair, and it was long blonde hair at the time too. And oh man, and you're just a happy personality. And so people would just stop, guys would just stop and tell you like how gorgeous you were. And I was just like, get away, stop it, don't touch her. I was so protective.
That's so funny. Rough. I don't remember all that. Like, I guess it just like, oh, thanks. It's so funny. I don't remember that. I do remember you being like, I don't feel like it was excessive in any way. I just feel like it was like a healthy form of caution. Like, okay,
all right, moving on.
We're moving on now.
Don't like, no need to stare people.
You know, I don't feel like you were. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
That's too funny. Well, then that night we got back. So I don't think we stuck around Moulin Rouge long because it was a little.
Yeah. Like at one point, I feel like there was someone there that like not necessarily at the Moulin Rouge, but definitely in that area that at one point, like they were watching us and we were like, okay, we should go. Like, I can't remember if they were taking pictures or something, but I just remember feeling like, yeah, this is a weird area. And that could be like a real creeper.
Like, yeah, and they might mug us on the way home or something.
Yeah, like we should get out of here.
Yeah,
but
I do remember that. And then we got back to our hotel or to the hostel, and it was like 18 people in our room. Do you remember that? Because we switched rooms.
I wish I was so excited about that first room that is the one that's stuck in my head. I wish I could remember. Do we have any pictures? I don't remember pictures of that room either.
Well, we didn't take pictures because we got there super late it was late at night and people were asleep. And then we also woke up super early. So I think there might be a picture of us outside the room, and we were like sitting in the rain under an umbrella.
Yeah. Okay. I do remember being in the rain, so having to like switch, and it was raining outside, and the tables, the umbrella outside.
Yeah. That was a rough night though, because I remember there was like a cigarette lighter in my bed, and it was dirty, and like.
Were you on bottom and I was on top? Like
I was definitely on bottom. Yeah, I was definitely on bottom. And like, it was so close that like the other person's hand could easily just fall onto your own bed. It was like there was no real separation between you and other people, like a concentration camp. Like, legit.
Honestly. Yeah. They tried to make some money on these rooms for sure. Yeah. Like, we're going to fit as many bunk beds as we can in here.
You definitely you get what you pay for. And we, in that instance, we were not able to get the nice rooms.
Was it that hostel, or was it a different hostel where wasn't someone like making out? Was that a different one? That's later on. Sorry, spoiler alert. But
no, people are gonna love that.
I think you're right. That was in Munich. Oh my goodness,
that's awesome. Well, then, so that next morning we went to Chartres. I never know if I'm saying that right. Chartres, France.
Chartres is how I like you don't really say the ES, I think. And the R is like R, Chartres.
Okay. Yes.
But it was like, yeah, there's some stuff you don't say.
Yeah. Tell us about that cathedral, just what you remember of it.
Well, I remember just like kind of coming into the city or the town. It wasn't like wasn't a real big town, but from what I remember at least. But it was kind of like foggy, and like it was foggy because it had been raining or it was about to rain or something. And I just remember, like us looking for it and finding it. And but I it seemed like the steeple of it, like, maybe, I don't know if I'm remembering it for myself or remembering the picture. Hilarie took great pictures, guys. She has a great picture of this cathedral, and it's just got the fog and it's got the steeple. It's just so pretty. It's just like ethereal, or like not eerie in a like a spooky way, but in just like it's so pretty and almost sacred, but man, this was an amazing cathedral on the inside. I mean, in particular, just the detail, I mean, pretty immaculate.
Yeah. And the inside of it, I think this might have been what drew us to that specific cathedral, was the inside floor. The floor was a labyrinth, and it was one of the first labyrinths ever, if not the first.
I think it was I have it down as the first, but that's probably based off of like what you told me. But you probably researched it recently at that time because you wanted to see it. You're the one that like knew, we got to go see this, and this is why.
Yeah. Very cool. And for those of you who don't know what a labyrinth is, it's like a walking path that's shaped in a circle, and it looks a lot like a maze, and it's really created with the intention of meditating and pondering your life. So as you're walking, you're praying and you're thinking about your life and where you want to go in life, and the journey you've been on. And a lot of people might not really think about the fact that like you think better when you walk. And so that's why a lot of people pace sometimes while they're thinking. And so this kind of enables that too. And man, I need to look back up all the history of labyrinths, but oh man, I just think I've always been, not always, but since college, I've been fascinated with them. And so it was really an honor to get to go see that one. But then Jessica, tell us about this pilgrimage. There were thousands of people that showed up in this tiny village too, and what that was all about.
That was, so they were celebrating Pentecost, and in the rain, which I think is just like really cool because it just goes to show like how serious and how meaningful it really was for them to be so dedicated and steadfast. They were doing communion. There was a priest outside, and there was a whole gathering. I don't know how many, but I mean, gosh, Hilarie, what would you say? I mean, I would say, I don't know, maybe I'm not remembering it well, but I mean, I would say several hundred, if not more. Yeah. Would I mean, okay.
Actually, I was looking it up, and like in 2019, so this is, just recently, but recently the number of people that participated were around 12 to 18,000 people.
Golly. Did we see that many? I mean,
we saw thousands.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah. Maybe I'm just like zoning in on a particular spot and I'm thinking of that. But I mean, I did know that the pilgrimage itself, was thousands. I didn't know how many people were there in that exact moment. But what was so cool about it though, to me, was that they're all wearing ponchos. It's raining. They're doing communion and celebrating Pentecost. They do this walk, and like it is once a year, like a one day in time that they do this. We did not plan that at all. We just happened to show up. And I mean, they could have already been on their pilgrimage. They could have already been walking, and we would have missed it. We would have not, but we actually got there at the time that they were doing the communion at the church, or there in Chartres. And I just thought, that is so cool. Like, what a God moment where he was like, hey, here's a really neat thing that you might want to see. I'm going to line that up for you.
So crazy. And so just to, I had to look some things up just to kind of refresh my memory, but like this annual walk happens every year. It's 60 miles that they walk, 60. And they walk from the Notre Dame in Paris to the Notre Dame in Chartres. And I just think like, that's pretty cool. I just think.
Yeah. An hour's ride on a train. On a train would take an hour and you're walking it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And we didn't spend long there because then we traveled on to Belgium. But we did hit France back up again later in our trip. We came back through Paris, right, Jess? We were heading back
after
home.
Spain.
Yeah. And I remember we spent a lot more time at the Eiffel Tower. It was warmer. It was a month later almost, so it was a little warmer. And we sat outside the Eiffel Tower and put out a blanket. We did carry a blanket with us on the whole trip, which proved to be like a pretty good idea.
Investment, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I would have used a lighter blanket next time, but like it was pretty good idea. But yeah, we just kind of like sat out there and had our backpacks out on the grass, like we were having some picnic next to the Eiffel Tower, and gorgeous day. And that's just some of my other memories from France. And I remember there were like a lot of Bosnian women too that would like walk up, needing money, and it was hard to know if it was like if you could trust them or not, and if it was a scam or not, and they were everywhere. And so I think that for travelers is kind of something, just a good bit of advice, like to kind of be prepared for that, because it could catch you off guard, and it can be exhausting too, because it can happen the whole time you're there.
It was a little hard because, you know, especially with that first person show, you don't know if they're legit or not, but like having to like turn down people, it can be like hard. Not really, especially if you start seeing the same message over and over. You're like, okay, now I know. Like, because they would hold up a little cardboard sign, and it would tell their scenario. And once the scenario's the same with like multiple people, then you start to see, okay. But I know there are legit people out there, so that's what makes it hard, is discerning which is which. Do you remember the bathroom in like the public bathroom, the non-gender specific bathroom in the middle of like the road? Like there's road, like one way lane going this way, lane going that way, and then there's like a stairway that goes down like into the ground, like almost like you're going to a subway. Maybe it wasn't stairs, maybe it was just a slope. But you walk down there and it's like an underground bathroom, and there's a guy sitting there taking like, hey, you pay to go to the bathroom, also you pay to get toilet paper. They dish out the toilet paper to you before you get into the stall. And it's like a guy guarding the door he's literally taking payment, and it's just like these stalls side by side, and like you might be in a stall right by a guy, you know, like it's just like, you want a bathroom, you just be grateful for the wall. It doesn't matter if it's a guy next to you or not.
Wow.
And that you're paying for it and paying for the toilet paper.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't remember that, but I'm glad you do.
I had to go to the bathrooms. I mean, you didn't have to go to the bathroom, but I just remember being like, I'm pretty sure that's a man next to me.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, definitely. Definitely both genders in the bathrooms for sure. Yeah. Well, Jess, was there...
And not that that's like bad. It's just like, you're not used to it in America.
No.
Everything's, very, very specific.
It's interesting. Well, what was your favorite memory in France?
I mean, I loved the Eiffel Tower. I really did enjoy that day that we just like I'm kind of an old-fashioned gal, so like I really like slow-paced things. I enjoyed the city life and getting to see all the hustle and bustle, and between London and Paris both, where you see like all these cultures coming together and like moving at this fast pace, but it's routine and it's organized and it's chaotic but not chaotic. I really enjoyed that, but I also just enjoyed like just being chill and like just kind of like soaking in the city, like just soaking in the culture and hearing the French being spoken and hearing the other languages being spoken. It's just, I don't know. We enjoyed our croissants.
Mm-hmm.
We loved our croissants. I think Chartres had the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
They were super, super light and fluffy. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed all of it. Gosh, I didn't think that would be such a hard question to answer. That sounds so silly. But I did enjoy the Louvre. I think I enjoyed the Louvre pretty good too. And we didn't really talk about it that much, but I think we got pictures in there, and I don't think we were supposed to. We got pictures with the Mona Lisa. I don't think you're supposed to take pictures.
That's right.
To do that. They weren't the greatest shots anyway, but I'm pretty sure we used a flash on at least one of them, and that was I'm sure a no-no. But there was a lot of really pretty vines and flowers and because they sell flowers, you can just, I don't know, it's you can go buy a huge bagel and that was funny watching people walk from the store and they would have this bread sticking out of their sack. I mean, it's anyone could just walk by and brush that.
Right?
That's exposed bread. It's not even covered or wrapped or anything. It was just this baguette or this huge bread, sticking out. I thought that was hilarious. We really enjoyed the cheese and bread. I think that we made that our staples throughout the entire trip.
Yeah.
In any country that
every country.
Let's test their cheese and bread. We did sit down at this cute little cafe that was really I don't remember where it was. Was it across from the Eiffel Tower? Wherever it was, it was just really cute and it was a little outdoor. I just remember getting to sit at these little outdoor spot, and we just enjoyed. I think we probably had some coffee or something, or maybe we had lunch. Is that where you had a really good quiche?
I think so. And I think it was somewhere near where Jason Bourne had been, because you were on a Jason Bourne kick.
Pont-Neuf.
Yep.
Pont-Neuf.
Yeah.
I was on a Jason Bourne kick. I love that show, and because he also speaks a lot of languages, and so that was a huge appeal to me. But yeah, I think you're right. You're right. That was near Pont-Neuf Bridge.
That's awesome.
Too funny. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, because that's right by that bridge. He's on a building in the movie. He's he's on one of these buildings. He's on the top, and he says some smart remark to the lady, and they don't know that he's watching them anyway. And so I was well, I gotta find that spot. But too funny.
But is there anything that you would do again that you did and you would totally just repeat it?
I would definitely, obviously Eiffel Tower. I just think that was you just can't not. You can't. But I think I probably would have gone to the suburbs again, but on purpose. Not so much the touristy stuff, but I want to get to know some French people that just hey, what's your life like? What's it like living in Paris? Whatever. But that was an awesome fortuitous moment by accident kind of thing. But I would have definitely done it on purpose, or at least found some spots out in the suburbs to hit up somewhere.
That's exactly what I wrote down. I was what would I do again? And it was I would accidentally visit the suburbs again.
That's hilarious. We did not plan that, guys. We did not plan that.
I love it though.
That is awesome.
Okay, so you guys are in Paris, France. Tell us more about the Eiffel Tower. Did it meet your expectations? It's one of the most famous places in the world, buildings in the world. It's on everything that you see about Europe. If there's a silhouette, the Eiffel Tower is on it. So how was the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah. It was amazing. At first glance, yes, it meets all of your expectations because as my sister and I described, we were coming up out of the subway at night and we didn't even know that it could sparkle like it did. It's kind of they got a million strobe lights that go off, I think maybe on the hour. I'm not even really sure. And we happened to walk up in that moment where it is literally almost like fireworks are going off everywhere around it. And so that was amazing. But I would say that there are some parts of the Eiffel Tower experience that you kind of need to be prepared for. We talked a little bit about the panhandlers, and And honestly, that can just become really overwhelming when all you want to do is get to enjoy this beautiful place that you have traveled so far to see and spend a lot of money to see, and to be approached. And I do mean approached frequently, as in like you can't carry on a conversation. It's every few maybe 60 seconds. Like it's very, very common. People just rotate through, and then sometimes it's the same person. You're like, I just talked to you. I just said no, but they don't even remember you because they come through so frequently.
So it's not even you walking past. It's like you're stationary and they're coming through. Like
yes, they are migrating through.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that could happen day or night. Honestly, daytime was worse, which surprises me in some ways. But also the thing that was so crazy about the Eiffel Tower is just the number of different languages you could hear. That was really crazy. We talked a little bit about that, but that was really, really crazy to hear all those different languages.
That's cool.
Coming at you from all these different directions, and you just know you are how big the world is, I guess. Yeah. That's
cool. Speaking about different languages, you guys ended up needing to go to an electronics store.
Yeah.
Now, like at a lot of the touristy places, I have to imagine that they're used to like helping someone along that maybe doesn't speak French.
Yeah.
But at an electronics store, like, are they set up for that? Like, what was that like?
No, it was really interesting. But they were so friendly. They loved it that we happened to come into their store, because we truly had gotten out of the city and into the suburbs, and it got more and more charming. I would really recommend it. But I would say it was really an interesting experience and just charming because when you're just sitting around the Eiffel Tower or you're kind of experiencing the city of France, there's a lot of good and bad there, but you don't get a chance to really see what the real French are like. And so, or not, maybe you do, but you're also seeing just people from a bunch of different countries. And then when you get out into the suburbs a little bit more, you see like the real locals, and that was really awesome. It was really hard to explain what we were looking for. We literally had to hold up the batteries that we needed and like point to the camera. I think it was the camera, or it could have been that digital recorder for our podcasting pre-podcast world. But yeah, no, that was it was an interesting experience, but they were great. They were super helpful, super friendly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys talk about having to go to the bathrooms and like pay to go to the bathrooms. So how does that work? Like you approach the poop master and you tell him like, there's like got a doozy of a toozy, so I'm gonna need the luxury stall. How's that work?
Well, I don't remember saying that, but it was.
So you weren't upfront about it. You like.
No, and I was like a girl and in my early 20s, and I don't remember that much actually, except for try not to go to the bathroom unless we like wait until we get back to the hostel. Like it just seemed like so odd to me to have to ask somebody for toilet paper and stuff like that just like blew my mind.
Did you ever like, hey, I'm gonna need more than this? Like no. I mean, this isn't enough.
No, you're embarrassing me. But it is a culture shock though, because for Americans, we don't know, like I didn't know how to respond to that. Like, what do you mean you want a coin from me? And then it's complicating too, because then you're like, every time you need to go to the bathroom, you've got to like have cash on hand to be able to use the bathroom. And if you're not from there, you more than likely, like, you're walking around a lot. You're going to a lot of public bathrooms. But the one thing I will say is there's free water. And a lot of people don't know this. We actually didn't know this when we were there, but Paris is one of the cities where you can go up to some water fountains that are really made for you to actually put up your bottle to the fountain and get free water. So that, I don't know how long that's been going on, but
gotcha.
Very
so, like,
cool.
Carry a bottle and
yeah.
fill it up. It is interesting the things that you don't really calculate into what a trip's going to be and what it's going to be like, because it's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And how it is wherever you're going might be different than how it is here, and you just don't know to calculate for those things.
Yeah.
So what's it like to inadvertently come upon a reverent festival or activity? You saw this pilgrimage happening, and you're on vacation and you didn't plan on it, you didn't know that it was going to be there, but you see this activity. What's an experience like that, like to come upon something that is very meaningful? I mean, it's these people's faith. It's a very reverent thing that's happening, and you are you're there, you're not really participating in it, but what's it like to come upon something like that?
It was pretty amazing. We're women of faith, so for us, we knew that if it had to do with faith, it meant something to us, and that we knew how we would want to our faith to be respected. And quite honestly, it's an experience that you wouldn't otherwise get. Sometimes those festivals are fun, crazy festivals that you didn't see coming. Like you and I got to experience Italy during their Independence Day, which was super amazing. We had no idea it was happening, and you've got planes overhead and parades and all kinds of stuff happening. And this was much more somber, but equally important and equally impactful. And so I think for us, it was definitely something you just don't know when you're going to get another chance to see something like that. And so we definitely were thrilled that we got to be a part of it, and that we got to show our respect to something that was important to them.
I think it's really cool that you guys embraced that situation, and rather than taking an attitude of oh, there's something going on that I didn't expect that now is could be perceived as being in my way or impeding me in some way, but instead you really embraced it. And it sounded like it was really cool for both of you to, as you came upon that, to say hey, you know what, this is something that's important to someone else, and I'm willing to accept that and sort of just soak it in, really.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting that you say that, because you make me think of some of the other things that we came upon throughout our trip, and our listeners will hear about them, especially Italy. In Venice, we came upon a parade on a Sunday, and it's coming down through the water canals and all this stuff, and then another small arts and crafts festival in the tiny town of Castelfiorentino. I mean, those were the things that we talk about the most, and we just go, oh, do you remember that? And they were the things that we never planned, and we couldn't have. I mean, it would have been so hard to plan for that, to have known that this tiny community was going to be celebrating something, and to know that in advance. But we got to experience it, and those were actually the things that highlight the trip. Now that you're saying that, I realize those are the things that really stand out.
That's cool. So that's what we've got for the France episode of the Secret Season.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody tuning in and joining us for this episode of the Travel FOMO podcast.
Yeah, but before we go, we want to hear from you guys. What unexpected cultural experiences have you had during your travels? Kind of like my sister and I had when we were in Chartres, France. Post some photos, tag us on social media. You'll find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And that's where we share our own photos and videos from our own adventures. So that's going to include some throwback photos of my sister and I in Europe.
Tune in to the next adventure in the Secret Season, where Hilarie and Jessica travel to Bruges, Belgium, and discover it's one of their favorite places in the world.
It really is. And you guys, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the Travel FOMO podcast from wherever you're listening. You can also visit travelfomopodcast.com to learn more about us. And you guys, remember that life is short.
Wander well.